Hey there riders, Moto Journo Kris here. Today I'm doing a quick ergonomics video on the Moto Guzzi V9 Bobber, and this is the Centenario version, which basically is just the color for the 100th anniversary of Moto Guzzi, so nothing too different from the standard version. As far as the bike itself, it is on the heavier side, but fairly normal for a cruiser at over 200 kilos. I think they're about 220 wet, 785mm seat height, and quite a relaxed overall ergonomic. I will jump on in a second. There's just a side stand on this bike and no center stand. As you can probably see from the style of bike, it would be difficult to fit one, quite low clearance. But certainly the low seat height makes it a very inviting machine for a wide variety of riders, and the relaxed kind of ergonomic overall between the peg, seat and bar ratio makes it ideal for people who don't want, something really sporty. They want something laid back, relaxed, upright seating position, great vision down the road. And again, very much a machine which is in that bobber theme. All right, so I've jumped on the bike. One of the issues I do have is where these pegs are right where I generally want to put my legs down. And also on the left side where there is the side stand, I find it quite difficult to get that side stand up with my foot because the peg is right in the way. Now the pegs do retract up, which does mean that, certainly if you were hitting the kind of the limits of the lean angle and scraping a peg, they're gonna come up. But at the end of the day, I did just find that peg placement a little bit awkward for me in getting my legs down. Apart from that, one thing that I really like about this particular machine is the fact that I can get my feet onto those pegs. It's a relatively short reach between the seat and the pegs, but again, it's a bobber, that's what we expect, and the seat is nice and comfortable. So certainly from the comfort side of things, I really do recommend this bike. I think the seat is very well done. The seat is narrow at the front and wider at the rear. A comfortable seat and very well designed, and it looks the business as well. I can actually lock in between the peg and the tank. I can get my knee just under the tank, as you can hopefully see here, which locks me into the bike, and that's something that I really like to see. It's something more that I would normally experience on like a super sport machine or a naked bike, where you've just got that real indent under the tank or in the tank to hold on, and sometimes you need to add stomp grips or something like that to really get the grip. However, in this, I just lock in perfectly, and when you're going through the twisty roads, that is really good, being able to kind of lock into the bike, and just makes everything easier, I would say, rather than on a lot of cruises where I just find there's not much to hold on to with your knees as far as kind of just having a natural kind of lock-in position. And for reference, I'm 180 centimeters, 32-inch inseam. Certainly I've got longer legs and a shorter torso. This is me sitting fairly naturally on the bike, very upright seating position, very commanding view down the road, as we'd expect, because this is a cruiser. Very, very wide bars, and I will note that I was getting a little bit of strain across my shoulders. I think just because I'm not used to this style of bike, and it perhaps had me a little bit more upright and maybe a little bit more canted forward than some of the machines that I'm used to. But that's not a complaint by any means, just an observation as far as the overall ride triangle. Again, sitting on the bike, great vision through those mirrors. They're a nice mirror design. Perhaps not the most stylish, but they do the job really, really well. No adjustable levers, so you will need to purchase those yourself if you find the reach of those regular levers is a problem, but certainly not something that I'd complain about. But with a size kind of large glove, I'm probably right in the mid-range there. Again, 70 kilos plus gear, and I found the suspension setup, which doesn't have a lot of adjustability, really ideal. So if you're in a similar kind of weight range, you're probably going to be really impressed with the suspension setup, and certainly the rear suspension setup, which does have the preload adjustability, impressed me because I was able to go over some fairly harsh bumps and the suspension just swallowed everything up. Simple LCD dash there as well, and easy to see, LED lights all around. Certainly, I think this is very much a relaxed machine overall. It's got an inviting seat height, a comfortable seat. It's got a fairly compact peg to seat ratio, which is what we'd expect from a bobber. Nice and wide bars though, which make inputs really, really good. And I would say this is going to be a machine which would suit the vast majority of riders. Perhaps if you're a really large rider, you wouldn't have my experience with being able to lock in under the tank quite as easily, and that might be a drawback. But I think for smaller riders, certainly this is going to be a great machine. And while it is, you know, somewhat on the heavier side of things, in realistic terms, this is a very well balanced machine and a very manageable machine overall. But check out my full review if you want a bit more of an idea of how the bike rides, because certainly I was very impressed in that area as well. And if you've got any questions at all, just let me know down below in the comments and I will do my best to answer them. As always, thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and I'll be back soon.